Now on BBC One, I wonder if they'd ever have a round on the subject of being concise.
Thank you. Hello, and welcome to Just a Minute, this exciting and challenging game where I ask my four guests to speak on a subject that I give them, and they try and do that without hesitation, repetition, or deviating from the subject. And to meet the four exciting guests today, well, first of all, we welcome that consummate actress, Liza Goddard, and beside her, the writer and comedian, Richard Morton. On my left, the very talented musician, Richard Vranch. And finally, the irrepressible comedy performer, man of comedy, Tom O'Connor. Please welcome all four of them. And they're going to try and display their verbal wit and dexterity as they speak on the subject I give them, and they will challenge according to well or how well they're doing it. And we'll begin the show with Liza Goddard today. Liza, the subject we have, I don't know why this subject's been chosen for you, Lisa, but it's rude words.
Oh.
Can you talk on the subject of rude words, starting now?
When I was a girl, being educated at the Convent of the Sacred Heart in Farnham, Surrey, the rudest word we knew was armpit. For some reason, this innocuous part of the human body reduced us to helpless, gibbering wrecks, lying on the floor with tears rolling down our faces. At any solemn moment, and there were many and oft of these in that establishment, a mention of that little rudery and serried ranks of schoolgirls would be lying down like ninepins.
Tom, you've challenged.
I think, well, there's lots of things, but hesitation is certainly one of them.
I think so.
And I thought she did very well. You went for 36 seconds. I think
Wow.
that's jolly good. No, but she did hesitate then,
I
Tom.
did.
So that's a correct challenge. Tom O'Connor gets a point for a correct challenge. He takes over the subject, and there are 34 seconds available, starting now.
Rude words are very unusual in our family.
Richard Vranch, the challenge.
It's very mean of me, because Tom only just got going, but there was a bit of hesitation.
He didn't
But
get
it's
going, he went for 1 second.
I'm sorry.
There's a definite hesitation, yes.
Yes.
Right. So, Richard, and point to him for a correct challenge. You take over the subject. There are 30 seconds available. Rude words, starting now.
Well, I think you need rude words, because every now and then, when something awful happens, some frustration hits you, and...
Oh, Lisa, why are you challenged?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I was going to say some, but of course he said some and something. So
That's
it's a really
right, yes.
stupid challenge. So just ignore it. Just pretend I didn't do that.
No, I can't do that. What happens? If someone's interrupted, they get a point for an incorrect challenge.
Oh.
So, Richard, you have another point. You still have rude words, and you have 23 seconds starting now.
The trouble is, these days, you hear rude words all the time, on the television, on the bus.
Yes?
Repetition of on the. Hurrah.
We usually let little things like that go, Lisa.
Oh, do you?
On the, yes. But it was correct.
Was
it
it?
was a repetition of on the. So, Lisa has another point. She hasn't another point. It's her first point, actually.
Good for you.
Because you started, yes. You have a point for a correct challenge.
Hooray.
You take over the subject. There are 17 seconds. Rude words starting now.
Rude words usually refer to parts of the body or bodily functions like bum or fart. My granny, though, thought that bottom was a rude word, so we had to say sit upon.
Shock, really.
It was, yes.
To hear Liza Goddard say those words has made my day, frankly. It's been...
Yes.
I think
What's sit upon?
hesitation, actually, yeah. It
You
was
mean
hesitation.
her saying sit upon has made your day, has it?
Yeah, I didn't know we could use the S word, sit upon.
Right. It was a hesitation.
Yeah,
Well
I
done,
think so.
Richard. You've listened.
Very
We're going to
well.
hear from
I'm
you
sorry.
on this subject in this round. There are 5 seconds available. Rude words starting now.
But as Lisa was saying, serried ranks of schoolgirls, that phrase has stayed in my mind for the last 2 minutes. Serried ranks of schoolgirls.
Serried ranks of schoolgirls.
Yeah.
Whoever is speaking when the whistle goes gains an extra point on this occasion. It was Richard Morton, so at the end of the round he is equal in the lead with Richard Vranch. We have 2 Richards, 2 Dickies on the show, and we're going to have a bit of a
Easy.
problem there, aren't we? Yes, right. Which Richard? Richard Morton. Would you like to take the next round?
All right, then.
The subject, patience. Tell us something about patience in just a minute, starting now.
Patience is something I know all about coming from the northeast of England, because all natives of that part of the world, after a certain altercation or argument, will then have a fight and then find themselves in casualty. When in accident and emergency...
Lisa,
I think a little hesitation.
No,
So-
no, he was
no, it
going with
wasn't.
style and
Sorry.
aplomb. No. We can get too over-conscientious on
Right.
too
Okay.
keen on...
You're keen.
She's dead
Serried
keen,
ranks
she's
of
dead keen.
schoolgirls, sit-upons, and you stop me.
You should,
Oh,
and
dear.
Richard, you've got an incorrect challenge there, so you have another point for that, and you have 49 seconds to continue on patience starting now.
Oh, in accident and emergency, we can...
He's repeating accident and
And
emergency.
you did indeed,
Yes,
Tom.
indeed,
So
right.
you have a correct challenge, Tom O'Connor. You take over the subject. 46 seconds available. Patience starting now.
Patience not only is a virtue, of course, it's also a game of cards. I used to play it at college when I was a young lad, and it's character building. Patience.
Yes.
Kind of hesitation, but there was 2 builds in there, really, which I think goes
Which one
right.
do you want?
I'll go for building twice, thank you.
All right. You can have
that right,
either,
Tom?
but I didn't know. I might disagree with one, but I was thinking at the time. Right. There are 38 seconds available. Patience. Back with you, Richard. Another point, of course, starting now.
In hospital, 2 Geordies can even start a fight. You'll often see them sitting in opposite hospital beds.
It's a
Very
tough
close,
game.
I hesitated myself there.
Yes, Lisa, that definitely was hesitation.
That was a
we
mic thing. I was
interpret
talking
it
properly,
when you
sorry.
get confused like that as hesitation. So, Lisa, you have the correct challenge. You have another point for that. There are 33 seconds available. It's patience starting now.
Voltaire said that medicine consists of amusing the patient while nature cures the disease. My husband is a typical male when it comes to illness. He says, no, I'm fine, I don't need to go to bed, droops around the house, sneezing, coughing, looking terrible, feeling...
Surely this is deviation. This is not patience. This is illness.
Well, I thought she was conveying to me that her husband by that time was a patient, though
Yeah.
she didn't establish it very strongly, did she? She's talking more about it. I think so. Yes, I think so. It's a difficult job in which to interpret, but yes, deviation, now illness and not patience. Right. It's with you, Tom O'Connor, and there are 16 seconds available. Patience starting now.
Patients are wonderful people because they have to put up with things in hospital that nobody else would ever have to do. They have nurses who wake them up to give them sleeping tablets.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, he said have twice.
He did say have twice.
I'm sorry.
She's the dead keenest player of the game.
I'm sorry, Tom.
Sorry,
I'm just trying to get a point, love. You know, I keep having points taken away. And...
You don't ever have points taken away in just a minute. You
Just
only
give them to other people.
gain points for correct challenge. But if it's an incorrect challenge, then well, you might say you've given them to somebody else. But patience, that was correct. The 8 seconds starting now.
Patients have a very difficult time at the moment with the NHS, I think. They have to wait in corridors, sitting on trolleys, they wait for the doctor for...
And no. I thank our audience for that spontaneous round of applause, but quarter or even half a second before, Richard Morton challenged, and your challenge was...
Wait, it was a...
Yes, a repetition of
the word
weight. So, Richard, you have a quarter of a second on patience starting now.
You'll see 2 Geordie blood...
Yes.
Can I tell you the gag as well, Nicholas? Can I tell you the joke?
Yeah, tell us
Yeah,
the joke.
I was going to say you'd see 2 Geordie blood donors sitting in opposite hospital beds, and one of them will say, "Are you looking at my pint?" That's all I was trying to say.
It wasn't really worth it, was it, Richard? At the end of that round, Richard Morton has, in spite of his jokes, taken the lead. He's just ahead of Liza Goddard and Tom O'Connor. And Richard Vranch, it's your turn to begin. The subject is nursery food. Tell us something about nursery food in 60 seconds, if you can, starting now.
Nursery food must be the most difficult kind of food to prepare because of who you're making it for. It's not as if you've got adults in a posh restaurant who will put up with anything you stick in front of them for fear of infuriating the chef.
Tom O'Connor.
I think you said 4 twice.
He did.
I think
My gosh, it's a tough show this today, isn't it? It really is. Tom, correct challenge.
Lisa
Yes.
started it.
Sorry.
I've forgotten what the topic is now.
Well, it's all right. You've got 47 seconds. Nursery food, starting now.
As an
You
ex-school
didn't
teacher...
start, did he? No one challenged then, you see. It's amazing, isn't it? And they still haven't challenged.
Oh, as an...
Richard.
Interruption by you.
Yes.
Hesitation.
Hesitation
Hesitation by
was
Nicholas, I saw that.
He did hesitate a long time. Richard, you got in rather late. Brilliant, brilliant reaction there. I mean, you came in there like a knife. I mean, it's amazing, wasn't it? You have Nursery Foods back with you, 36 seconds starting now.
So you need to make the nursery food palatable for the little children who eat it, because they will reject it if it's slightly...
Lisa, yes.
Hesitation, I
yes,
think,
indeed,
probably.
Lisa.
I think
there
so.
are 28 seconds available. You tell us something about Nursery Food starting now.
I love nursery food. Cottage pie, shepherds of the same, bananas and custard, jelly, tapioca, semolina.
Hesitation.
I think
really,
so,
Lisa.
Pepper. I ran out of
Yeah.
nursery food.
But I would love to order shepherds of the same. Let's go around a pub now. What do you want for your lunch? I'll have shepherds of the same, please.
Right. Richard, correct challenge. There are 18 seconds. You tell us something about Nursery Food starting now.
Up in Newcastle, where I'm from, we love nursery foods because they're all made out of lard. Chips, fried eggs, baked beans and hesitation foods.
With an we call that hesitation. 12 seconds, Lisa. Nursery Food starting now.
The trouble is when you have small children that you put on an enormous amount of weight because of the nursery food. Feed the little ones, they don't eat it, so you think, I'd better not waste it, I'll shove it down my own throat.
Liza Goddard speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point at the end of that round. She has moved forward. She's now equal in the lead with Richard Morton and Tom O'Connor. Your turn to begin. The subject is the Millennium. As if we haven't... Yeah, they're already groaning in the audience already. Well, maybe Tom will tell you something else about the Millennium that we haven't heard, but you have 60 seconds to try and do it, starting now.
The Millennium is going to give us good and bad news. The best news, I think, hopefully, will be the Queen Mother will still be alive. She'll be as old as a century, so she'll be the first Queen Mother in history who'll get a telegram from her own daughter.
And Richard Vranch challenge.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom. 2 Queen Mothers.
You can't have 2 Queen Mothers.
No.
We've only got 1.
OK.
In this game, you can only have it once, too. Richard, correct challenge, another point. The Millennium. And there are 52 seconds, starting now.
I'm one of those pedantic people who will be celebrating the Millennium on the 31st of December 2000, because strictly speaking, it doesn't start until then. It would be like having your first birthday on the day you were born.
Yes?
2 days there, I think.
There were 2 days?
Yes.
No, birthday is one word.
Is it? Oh,
Yes. And so you day is another word. So, yes, grammatically, that's right. So, 37 seconds for you to continue, having got another point, Richard, on the Millennium, starting now.
But the great thing is, all the parties that will be happening at the time everyone expects them, I'll be joining in as well. So basically, you get 2 goes. So the first time we will all celebrate this fantastic calendar event.
And Lisa.
I'm afraid it's a hesitation.
Yes,
Let me just
don't
stop.
apologise. You've got a correct challenge. And
I want
Lisa,
this.
you've got the subject, you've got the Millennium. You don't want it. Well, you've got to try and go on it.
How many seconds have I got?
You've got 23 seconds. The Millennium, starting now.
I'm not looking forward to the Millennium. We've decided to get away from the world, just close the door, get in huge amounts of champagne, chocolates, caviar, and just...
She suddenly thought of the lifestyle she was
Yeah.
presenting. She got a bit overwhelmed by it.
I'd like to hesitate to say you hesitated.
I did.
Yeah, but it was a wonderful party. You were at that. Because Lisa was off, wasn't she, with the chocolate and the champagne and the caviar?
Yes.
So I'm sorry
Are
about
we
that,
all
Lisa.
invited?
Yeah.
Richard, you have the correct challenge. You have 12 seconds. The Millennium, starting now.
Tony Blair is quoted as saying the Millennium Dome will be the greatest day trip ever. And I thought, Tony, you've got to get out more.
Yes, and...
2 Tonys, I think.
2 Tonys, yes. Oh, it's a difficult game, isn't it? The Millennium's with Tom O'Connor, with 6 seconds to go, starting now.
The Millennium Bug is the thing we're all worried about, of course. This is apparently going to affect...
Lisa, your chance.
I'm not worried about it at all. Not at all.
Lisa, you can have a bonus point because we like the challenge. But you interrupted Tom O'Connor, so he gets a point for being interrupted, and he has 1 second to talk still on the Millennium, starting now.
The bug will affect...
Tom O'Connor speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point for doing so. And what is the situation? It's very, very close. Liza Goddard's actually in the lead. She's just 1 ahead of Richard Morton and Tom O'Connor, and only 1 behind is Richard Vranch. And Lisa, we're back with you to begin.
Oh, no.
The subject is snoring. I don't know whether there are any snorers in your family or you know anything about it, but tell us something about it in just a minute, starting now.
Great Snoring and Little Snoring are villages near where I live, and the postmaster of one is named Mr. Go-to-Bed. My great-uncle Walter comes to say, very welcome guest, but we do have a problem at bedtime because he snores for England. And when he's asleep, the house is quiet, we all lie there, we hear the house...
Great story,
get
though.
him,
Hesitation, I'm afraid, Nicholas.
Yes, it was.
And also, your great-uncle was maimed.
Was
Did you
he?
know that's what you said? He was maimed.
Maimed?
Yeah, you
Oh,
maimed him.
It probably was.
What's your name, John?
Stop that snoring.
OK.
Richard Morton, you have 40 seconds to tell us something about snoring, starting now.
By placing your thumb and index finger over the nostrils of the offending snorer just for a second, you will prevent them from carrying on. But however, the temptation to keep your hand there sometimes is just so great that you want to just put it there. And sorry, everyone, I've lost it. OK.
Tom O'Connor.
Yes, I think hesitation, deviation and everything combined on that one.
Deviation,
You
murder,
don't
Joe.
rub it in when you challenge you. Right. But it was hesitation. So, Tom O'Connor, you've got snoring and you've got 27 seconds starting now.
One of life's biggest questions is, why is the person who snores loudest the first one to fall asleep? I have an uncle...
You challenge.
Pause for laugh.
I know.
Comedian.
It's my job.
Yeah. It's built into him.
In just a minute, you have to ride the laughs.
We did.
And nothing
We
is
did,
worse. And nothing's worse in this game than waiting for a laugh that doesn't come either.
It's like my act.
Right, Lisa, correct challenge. There are 21 seconds available, snoring, starting now.
The husband of old Aunt Mary goes to sleep, and soon the house reverberates with the noise of his...
Richard Vranch.
Repetition of...
We still don't know what it was it reverberates with.
I know.
Rather, what a strange...
one of your rude
household she
words,
lives in. Right, snoring is with you, Richard Vranch, and you have 13 seconds starting now.
I don't snore. At least I've never heard myself do it. And that's the great thing about snoring. You never hear yourself.
Never heard twice.
Never heard? Yes, and right, yes. Actually, it's not true. You can wake yourself up with a big snore.
Don't tell them, Nicholas. We weren't there together.
One's life can be revealed on this show, but that wasn't one of them. Right, Lisa, with you, 5 seconds, snoring, starting now.
Snoring is caused by the soft palate vibrating with wind, so it sounds like a flute.
Liza Goddard was then speaking as the whistle went and has increased her lead at the end of the round. And Richard Morton, we would like you to take the next subject. A right cock-up. Try and talk on the subject of a right cock-up. 60 seconds starting now.
I think it's fair to say that we all love a right cock-up. Yes, indeed, I certainly do. But what springs to mind are television shows like It'll Be All Right on the Night or Auntie's TV Bloomers, which show the mistakes in television programmes which have been made by TV celebrities and performers, which we love to watch. Or Blue Peter, when that elephant went rampaging round, do you remember? And he left all the little bits around on the floor, which was much funnier than the actual show. Or he could have gone back to one and said, that's one I made earlier. No.
Yes.
Very
Lisa,
good.
your challenge.
I'm afraid he went
Not
out.
to
He
go
ran
for the
out.
obvious. He put me right off with that
Fab.
subject, Lisa.
Correct challenge, Lisa. And you have a right cock-up, and there are 36 seconds available, starting now.
My chickens like to peck around the yard and spend the day on the muck heap. Now, Chanticleer, the cockerel, likes to get up there first, so that he is the cock up on top of the heap. The girls...
I'm glad you were challenged then. I thought what was going to come next.
I know.
Repetition of the word up.
Yes.
Up, yes, right.
Quite right.
No, up is on the card. So, you have an incorrect challenge, Lisa.
Oh, no.
Let's hear about your cock now. There are, what is it? There are 23 seconds available starting now.
I'm not going to tell you any more about the chickens, but a cock... Right.
Richard Vranch.
That was a little hesitation.
That was a
was.
major hesitation. There are 19 seconds now for you to tell us about a right cock-up, starting now.
There must be a reason why we use the phrase cock-up to mean some kind of debacle or disaster. And maybe something happened centuries ago with a cock which gave it its name. For example, it could have been a competition where two cocks were involved in a fight or a race, and the winning one was the right cock, and so they tried to put the right cock up.
So you were speaking as the whistle went, Richard Vranch. She's got an extra point for doing so. And it's very interesting for those who are interested in points. They're all equal in second place, just behind Liza Goddard, who's got a short lead. Richard Vranch, will you take the next subject? Overnight guests. Tell us something about those in just a minute, starting now.
Imagine the scene. You've got some friends around at your house, you've had a lovely dinner, perhaps a glass of wine, you've watched some TV, and you've talked into the earth.
Yes.
We've had at least 3 youths there.
Youths. Yes, I think that was very
Repetition,
strongly.
sorry.
Repetition there. So, you've got in with 53 seconds to go, Tom, on overnight guests. Tell us something about them, starting now.
The worst guests, of course, to stay overnight have got to be relatives, because relatives have always heard all your stories. No matter what you say, they know the tag.
Yes, Lisa.
Sorry, repetition of relatives.
Relatives.
Did I say relatives? Sorry.
You did say relatives. So, Lisa, you got in first. Another point to you. Creasing your lead. Overnight guests is with you. And there are 47 seconds starting now.
Guests and fish stink after 4 days. But personally, I love overnight guests. I spend a lot of trouble. I do up the bedroom, put flowers, books, a radio, biscuits, water jug, glass, clean tub.
Is all this for the guests or the fish?
Yeah.
The guests.
I think you'd run out of things to do for the guests.
I'd run out of...
Mind you, I wouldn't mind coming to stay if we get all that treatment. Richard!
Bit of hesitation.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Richard, correct challenge. 33 seconds. Overnight guests starting now.
The trouble is, you never know if, during the night when you're asleep, they're going to get up and start going through your things. For example, you might have...
Tom.
Massive hesitation there.
All right, enough hesitation. Tom, tell us something about overnight guests with 23 seconds available starting now.
Wives are a nuisance because when we know guests are coming, they spend all day, and possibly the day before, preparing.
Richard.
Hesitation.
Yes, I think he'd hesitated because he'd repeated something.
I know, yes, I have.
That's what happens, you see. Sometimes if you keep going with panache, Tom, they don't notice it. But Richard, correct challenge.
Yeah,
And
did
you
you
have
repeat
15
that?
seconds
I'm not
on
telling
overnight guests starting now.
The most unwelcome kind of overnight guests are the ones you might pick up in a sort of a way, at a sort of a place, and I'm glad you stopped me. Somebody stopped me.
I don't think I want to hear the rest of that story.
Nor do I, no. 9 seconds,
No, he
Lisa.
said sort of a.
Yeah, I know.
Tell
you're
us something else that you do for your overnight guests. 9 seconds starting now.
My overnight guests, when they arrive in the afternoon, can ride the horses. They can help me muck out. They can take the...
I think we had 2 theys there.
Did have 2 there, yes.
Yeah.
You're getting keen again.
I am.
He's getting keen.
Right, Tom, you've got 4 seconds. Overnight guests starting now.
The worst thing about overnight guests staying in hotels is the manager is never there. If you stay...
Tom O'Connor speaking as also and getting that extra point, and he's moving to the second place just behind Liza Goddard, who's still in the lead. And Tom O'Connor, it's also your turn to begin.
right.
Spotted Dick. That's a good subject, isn't it? 60 seconds, if you can. Starting now.
I was a school teacher, and in all the days that I worked in my profession, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, Lisa.
Oh, I had to, because he just hesitated.
I know.
Please don't.
She's so kind. She wants you to go on, you see.
do.
She
I
wants
want to hear
about
the
your
story.
spotted dick. Well, you tell us something about your spotted dick, and you've got 57 seconds starting now.
Spotted Dick is a public house near where I live, so named after Richard III. Before he lost his horse, he came through the area, fell down a hill, cut his face, and had spots all over it, so he was known as Spotted.
What rubbish they talk sometimes, isn't it? But it's delightful,
Yeah,
right?
Richard had a bit of hesitation, sorry, there, because you made it all up, didn't you? It was just all just twaddle, wasn't it? Okay.
I know, but that's what you can do in just a minute,
Okay.
you see. And as long as you keep going with style, they don't know whether it's not right. 43 seconds. Spotted Dicks with you, Richard Morton, starting now.
I would love to get German measles and then get arrested and then...
And
2 gets.
gets,
Repetition
and then
of
get,
get.
and then get, and then get. So, Tom O'Connor, right, you've got the subject
been a
back
little
again.
getting me time
You've
before,
got your
Tom.
spotted dick back, and there are 38 seconds starting now.
When I was a school teacher, I supervised the meals.
Yes, you said
Oh,
that
I'm
before,
so
didn't you?
sorry. I can't stand it. But you said school teacher before.
Oh.
You did. You started off before with school teacher. You
Wasn't
can't
that, wasn't that a different life when I did
No,
that?
no, no.
Because you've used that twice in 2 different things.
I know, but you see, if you've said it before, you can't say it in the same round again.
Ah.
When you started before, you start off with, when I was a school teacher. And it's quite a long phrase, too.
All right.
So Lisa got in first.
Sorry.
Don't worry.
Can't
Right?
stand it.
Spotted Dick. 34 seconds, Lisa, starting now.
Spotted Dick is delicious pudding. I absolutely love it. You make it with flour and suet and a little bit of butter and water. Make the pastry, roll it out. And very most important ingredient of all are the raisins. You fill it full of these little dried fruit.
Hesitation, I think.
Yes, you couldn't get something else for the dried fruits out for raisins, right? So, Tom O'Connor, don't start over saying when you were a school teacher.
I won't.
Spotted Dick is with you, and there are 16 seconds, 17 actually, starting now.
When I was a student, I used to enjoy...
Sorry,
he was
Tom, I
riding
did
his laugh
hesitate,
and his
yeah.
applause, so I'm going to be generous and say yes. You really, you had us with that one. So come on, I'm not going to charge any points. I'm going to say keep going. 11 seconds. Spotted Dick starting now.
My favourite pudding was always Spotted Dick. Others I liked. Semolina was OK, but sloppy. Tapioca, Spotted Dick was good because it felt homemade. Obviously with custard, ice cream.
Right, Tom O'Connor kept going to the whistle when gained the extra point for doing so. He's creeping up on Liza Goddard, which is rather devious in this game. But Lisa's just in the lead, 2 ahead, and then it's Richard Morton and Richard Vranch in that order. And Liza Goddard, your turn to begin. Now here's
Again.
something for you, Lisa.
Yeah?
Mussels.
Right.
So many different ways you can take it, but just talk on this. Just a minute, starting now.
Mussels are bivalves of the family Lamellibranchia. You find them between the low and the high water mark at the beach.
Yeah?
Can I interrupt just because she sounds like a smart aleck?
You can, if you want. You've interrupted. Right. I'll give you a bonus point, because it was a naughty but facetious remark, which made the audience laugh, so you get a bonus for that. But Lisa gets a point for being interrupted.
Certainly.
And she continues on mussels, and there are 53 seconds available, starting now.
My favourite way of cooking mussels is meunier. Take an onion, cut it up very small, cook it in a little bit of butter, throw in some white wine, water, mussels. Make sure the mussels are live, because if they're not, you can be very, very poorly indeed and end up dead yourself. Cook them in the pan for about 10 minutes, then pour them into soup bowls. Serve with bread, freshly made, white, wholemeal, granary. Someone help me!
We were actually filibustering by doing nothing. Did you?
That's right, there you do, there we are.
Very mean.
It's turning into ready, steady cooking. Fantastic. Mussels. Correct challenge, Richard Vranch, and there are 27 seconds available starting now.
There are several places which are famous for their mussels. Belgium is one of them. You go to Antwerp, you can get the most fabulous mussels. But of course, Dublin had a mussel seller who was enshrined in a song. In Dublin's fair city where the girls...
Yes, Richard Vranch.
Repetition of the word Dublin.
Dublin, yes, right. Dublin, repetition, Richard Morton, and there are 14 seconds, mussels starting now.
Where I come from in Newcastle, we've got mussels on our eyelashes because we're that tough. Mussels on the little bit on our lips where we have tattoos done.
Why are you challenging Tom?
He repeated wah.
That was short for why I.
He said mussels and wah lips.
No, I don't think that was a legitimate challenge. It's just his idiosyncratic way of speaking.
Go on,
which
He said wah twice.
They meant different things then.
Yeah, I did what an hour, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. But if
Okay.
you come from Newcastle or wherever you
Okay.
come from, you're entitled to do
Where
it.
did you come from? OK.
Well, 7 seconds, mussels starting now.
Where I come from, people are so hard they get
Where, yes?
Where I've come from, he said that
You
twice.
said
Did
that
I?
really quick. Yes, you did.
I've just come from there.
There you
I had to go back there.
Right. Tom, you've got in with 5 seconds to go. Mussels starting now.
Mussels I admire. My son-in-law actually is one of these bodybuilders. Arms like this, muscles...
Yes. Wait a minute, whoosh, before the whistle, what happened?
That was a little bit of hesitation.
There was a little bit of hesitation, yes. So, with half a second to go, Richard Morton, you've got mussels starting now.
From my place of origin.
So Richard Morton, speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point with no more time today to play just a minute. So let me tell you, the final situation was that Richard Vranch was in 4th place, and then Richard Morton in that order, and then Tom O'Connor's 1 point behind Liza Goddard. So Lisa, you're the winner today. We do hope you enjoyed Just a Minute. And on behalf of Liza Goddard, Richard Morton, Richard Vranch, Tom O'Connor and myself, tune in next time we want to play Just a Minute. Till then, from all of us here, goodbye.